Good morning, my friends. Welcome back. Thank you for joining me today for this collective energy reading. Let's get started and see where we will be guided to today. Okay. The world certainly makes sense with that full moon in Libra coming up at the end of the week. Things are really wrapping up. We're wrapping up chapters. We're closing out things that are no longer in alignment. Things are really coming together. Things are coming together in a way that's leading to some new beginnings. But it feels like these new beginnings are going to be catalyzed perhaps by some closure. So we're moving into closing out some cycles. Who's on the bottom? The Fool. Wonderful. The Fool's on the bottom of the deck to remind us that when we wrap things up, even if it feels sort of emotional, maybe there's been some attachments there, that these are leading to new beginnings that are in line with where you're off to. So we're going to keep the Fool, keep him out, keep him on top of the world card there. Wonderful. So some closure, some beginnings, some completion, right? We're completing things. Trying to think of it as completion can somehow make us feel less like it's an ending. It's just something that's come to completion, right? All about how you frame it. Okay. The Chariot. Wow. 3 major arcana right away. So we've got some balancing to do, some decisions to make, some directional choices ahead. When I see the Chariot coming out with the Fool and the World card, that really tells me that you're choosing a direction based on what aligns with you right now. And that this is almost sort of a period of really diving deep within the self to say, what resonates for me? Where do I feel in harmony? Where do I feel like I'm in alignment? What aligns with me? What choices of direction do I need to make to further that harmonious feeling? Where am I being led? It's interesting, like I was saying about the full moon in Libra coming up on Friday. Really, really powerful full moon to help you take that Libra energy to bring completion to things that don't resonate for you, including experiences, relationships. If you've been following these daily readings, this has been coming up a lot. And so I feel like we're building towards this, and certainly seeing the Chariot makes me feel like if it's not in balance with you, it's not coming on this journey. You're going to be traveling light, my friends. This is a time where we're making room for things to help us bring into alignment the things that resonate with us. We're looking at partnerships that are going to help move us forward. We're looking at like-minded communities that will create this feeling of thriving rather than draining. You know what I mean? And it's there's no judgment attached to any of this. It's just, where do you feel like you're thriving? Right? That's the direction. That's the direction that you're going to be taking. And I feel like it's coming at an exchange. It's almost like, well, you've got to make space for this energy. So certain other things need to get completed or are naturally coming to their completion. Very naturally. Let's have a look here. What is impacting? Well, we got 2 cards. Oh, 3 cards. Oh, interesting. 2 4s and an 8. So we've got the 4 of Swords, the 8 of Cups, and the 4 of Pentacles all in reverse. So this tells me that you've had time, or you will be taking time to really reflect on this in a way that allows you to put your mind to rest. Allows that part of your mind to sort of come to terms with some of this completion. I was talking about the full moon in Libra, and I mean the 4 of Swords air energy really makes me think that it may be a struggle to walk away from some of these things, to allow the completion to take place. You might even find yourself wanting to force things, into place. If you're not resonating with the space you're in, you might be resisting it. Does that make sense? You might be resisting some of these things coming into completion, and saying why, and not just allowing the natural cycle to come to pass. Eight of Cups in reverse, you might be hanging on. You might be hanging on. In some ways, emotional attachment is keeping you hanging on. You might even be thinking about things from the past. When I see that Eight of Cups in reverse, sometimes when we create so much space because things just aren't in alignment, instead of looking forward, sometimes we look back. Sometimes we look back and we say, well, what can I bring back to life to fill up this space? And, for some of you, that may be, but it definitely feels like we're moving forward here. There's a big forward momentum in this energy. And I see the Four of Pentacles in reverse as well, which tells me that you're starting to maybe let go of some of your attachments, but there is an element still there where you're hanging on to attachments. And I'm kind of feeling like you might even be replaying certain stories in your mind and thinking to yourself, well, should I go back to that? Or, that was okay. Maybe I should go back to that. And it's interesting. It's almost this frenzy that happens. I'm sort of being brought to a funny image of a store closing, and you've got 5 minutes. And because the store is closing, you seem tempted to pick up more things than you normally would because the store's closing. But really, did you need those things? You might not have even needed them, but it might have just been the pressure that the store is closing that creates this frenzy in you where you're just grabbing things and putting them in the cart because while the store's closing, we have to grab what we can. And it's sort of this energy of scarcity that I'm feeling with this Four of Pentacles in reverse that says, are you just grabbing what you can because the store is closing or because the cycle is completing? And so you just want to hang on to whatever you can because you don't want to leave the store empty-handed and go home with just like whatever. Does that make sense? It's interesting. It's an interesting feeling of not trusting the process and feeling a frenzy to collect things because you don't want to feel empty-handed when really the Fool doesn't take much on his new journey. He doesn't need much. He's ready to collect and experience new things and to have new experiences. So it's an interesting feeling of sort of feeling a frenzy because something's coming to a close, instead of just allowing that stillness in the mind that says it's going to be fine. Let these things go. If they don't resonate for you, just let them go. They have other things to do, these things you're hanging on to. They may not be best served by staying with you either. It works both ways. It's interesting. Seeing Temperance on the bottom of the deck makes me feel guided to say that it's okay to have 1 foot grounded on the earth and 1 foot in the emotion, the water, which is represented here. And to sort of feel that emotional connection to things and still allowing them to come to completion, knowing that and trusting that whatever is meant to come along your new journey will be there. It will be there. To trust that and to trust that new things will come in to support your new journey, and those things need space. They need space. And so it's an exchange vibe. I feel it. There's an exchange being made here. And trust is the currency of that exchange. Trusting that you can let go to receive. Right? Let's get the rest of our cards here. Very interesting reading so far. 9 of Pentacles in reverse. Very interesting. Guarded, defensive. You might be triggered by certain things, triggering you to feel guarded, feeling defensive, feeling like you've created this wall so that you don't have to be vulnerable. And that might be your clue. That might be your clue. Anything that triggers you into this place of retreat instead of shining your light and being seen, those energies are the ones to, I think, have a look at to see, does this serve me? if this is triggering me to retreat, if this is making me feel diminished, if I don't feel like I'm thriving in this energy, that might be your clue that this is something that needs to be wrapped up, or it's already wrapped up. And that's why it doesn't feel like you're thriving in that energy, because you've outgrown it. We have definitely been seeing that in these daily readings. The Nine of Pentacles to me is a time where you have everything you need already within, but for some reason you feel scarcity, you feel lack. And it can come once you've created all of this space and you look around and it's just you hanging out in your garden, right? Ace of Rods in reverse. This is very interesting. You might be, I said this earlier, but you might really be resisting some of these transformations. You might be seeing some of these completions, some of these stories that are coming to a completion, and you might be saying no. Thumbs down, right? Which is with the Ace of Rods in reverse, Ace of Wands in reverse always makes me think is that it's a thumbs down. It's saying, no, I'm not okay with this. I don't accept this. And again, feeling really triggered and maybe retreating instead of moving into this, instead of taking up space in the environment you've created, to sort of retreating from it and saying, no, I don't accept this. I don't want this. When really it could just be the unfamiliarity of where you're moving. It feels like a big timeline change coming up. And again, that full moon in Libra is really pointing things out, and that vulnerability that we feel almost when we're standing in our complete authenticity and feeling completely vulnerable. It's a time of really feeling that vulnerability. And look, as I look down at the bottom of the deck, I see the Tower in reverse. It's when this Tower comes down, it's almost like it's taking your clothes with it, right? Like it's taking everything with it. And it's just you standing there naked, vulnerable, exposed, seen, right? And it's removing anything that is no longer for you. And so I kind of feel this resistance right now for you. Like it feels like that's too much. That's too much. But it's just a reflection of how much your new path needs to be expanded, right? You're creating the amount of space necessary for this new journey. This feels like a very expansive new journey where not only are you heading off into an unfamiliar place, but you're doing so very authentic, very vulnerable, and really wearing your heart on your sleeve. As I look at what was behind the Towers, the Knight of Cups, I feel like you're moving forward in a path of complete authenticity to say, this is my cup, here it is. And if you don't resonate with my cup, that's fine. But this is me, this is my cup, this is what I have to offer, this is my authentic self, and I'm moving forward with this as my way of moving through this new energy authentically, emotionally, intuitively, and vulnerable. And it is what it is. It almost feels like, I feel like saying, like, you don't have to put anything on it to dress it up. You don't have to dress up this version of yourself. It is you. It's always been in there. It's almost like you've removed layers of things that no longer resonate, and you've exposed this fresh vulnerable version of yourself that's ready to move forward authentically. But, just as this figure in the World card, you're moving forward very, very vulnerable, very fresh, very reborn. I'm almost getting that kind of image as you're coming into the world again. You know, you're being reborn into this space. And that full moon in Libra, I feel like we're feeling it already. Temperance has arrived back on the bottom of the deck again. Be gentle with yourselves. Be gentle with everything as you move forward towards this new path. And as the full moon approaches, get ready to release some of those clothes. Get ready to have the store close. And don't feel frenzied to grab too much stuff. Just because the store is closing doesn't mean we have to hang on to as much as we can. You can come in and get what you came for and feel okay that the store is closing behind you. There will be other stores. There will be new clothes. There will be new people. There will be new experiences. There will be new adventures. And they will serve you. They will serve you. You will feel comfortable in this space, even though it's unfamiliar right now. This is very interesting. Very, very interesting reading. I'm looking forward to the full moon reading. I'm going to try to do it today, but I will post it this week. So it'll be a pick-a-pile reading. So hopefully you'll be able to see that and receive a message as well for the full moon in Libra coming up. Okay, my friends, I'm going to leave it at that. Thank you so much for joining me today, and we'll see you again for another reading. Sending lots of love and light.